I would say one of the keys is getting good written documentation of everything that you do in your business. So I think like one of the differences in training an AI versus a human employee is that a lot of human employees can kind of learn by osmosis. So you don't necessarily have this awesome onboarding doc with all the background of everything they need to know. They just kind of come in, they meet with people, they ask questions, and over time they figure it out.
AI isn't the future, it's now. And whether you're in HR, sales, operations, or leadership, the choices you make today will determine whether you thrive or get left behind.
Today's guest is Jesse Lipson, founder of ShareFile and now CEO of Levitate, where he is helping over 7,000 businesses scale client relationships with AI while keeping it personal. Jesse, welcome to the AI Voice or Victim. How's it going today?
It's going great.
Amazing. Well, I really want to kick it off and start talking about how you have scaled several companies from scratch. I want to talk about your thinking around innovation and technology and how has that evolved since your early ShareFile days?
Well, my early ShareFile days were really kind of the beginning of the cloud. So I think the thing that where we got right or lucky was I launched ShareFile at late 2005, and the term, like if you look at Google Trends, the term cloud didn't even happen for a couple more years after that. And so in ShareFile, it was like there was so much opportunity. It was just the beginning of software as a service and web-based apps, and we were able to kind of ride that trend. And there was so much white space out there in software and in tech. So I think how it's changed, I mean, it's been 20 years since then, and the marketplace is a lot more sophisticated. I remember with ShareFile, Google AdWords had just come out, and ads were so cheap, and so you could any software could advertise, and for 10 cents a click, be getting great traffic. And so it's a lot more competitive, the world of software these days. And I think software, one of the things I realized when I started Levitate is that software, you're not just competing with other products in your category. Like business users only have so many products they're going to use. So you're basically competing for attention with every other software that's out there kind of these days. And so it's a lot more sophisticated, a lot more competitive, and a lot more difficult to get users' attention now than it was 20 years ago.
Well, I'm here for some 10 cents a click, but those are some days of the past. But tell me a little bit more about Levitate and what you do and how it really incorporates AI.
Yeah. So Levitate is basically a marketing software for small businesses, so companies that are about 1 to 25 employees. We specialize in certain industries that tend to be more relationship-based, referral, word-of-mouth kind of driven, like insurance, accounting, legal, nonprofit. And basically what we help them do is keep in touch with their contacts in a much more personal, authentic way at scale than a traditional marketing software that's more of like a mass blast kind of newsletter type approach. So kind of one way to think about it is, let's say you are a wealth manager and you have 100 clients or a couple hundred clients. We help you keep in touch with those clients consistently in a personal, authentic way versus just sending a HTML newsletter, which most people these days don't really read. And even if they do, it doesn't deepen the relationship in the same way that a personal outreach does.
Oh my gosh, no, we are in the age of hyper-personalization, and where that is so key, especially with AI being everywhere and people just getting inundated with the same types of content being seen. Yeah. So I imagine that is extremely successful and is going to be even more necessary in the coming days as more and more people lean into AI.
Yeah, so when I started Levitate, it was the end of 2017, and we were actually called Levitate.ai back then. So my thought was, how can we use AI to help you scale personal, authentic outreach by identifying contacts that you want to be keeping in touch with but have slipped through the cracks. And so the original idea was we connect to your email and calendar system, which we still do, and we can look at different patterns and say, hey, like, you want to be in touch with Greg, but you haven't, and I think all of us in business have people that we know we should be keeping in touch with. It would help us if we did, but life gets in the way, you get busy. And so that was the problem we were trying to solve. But for probably the first 5 years, the fact that we were called Levitate AI was kind of a running joke internally because we just didn't use very much AI. That was part of the vision, but the technology wasn't there yet. And now over the last couple of years, we've been able to layer it in and probably really start to achieve.
So you dropped the .ai, but now we could actually use
We
it.
actually kept it the whole time.
He
luckily.
started with the
Yeah,
.ai.
yeah. We started with it. It didn't mean much for a long time, and then now...
Y'all, that's manifestation at its finest. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you've obviously been on the front lines of AI since the beginning. Tell me, what does responsible, practical AI integration look like for small businesses right now in today's landscape?
I think it depends on the type of small business. It's very different if you're a company like us that's a software company. But I think that for your traditional mom and pop small business, that the types of small businesses that we serve, it's still very, very early. And I don't see a lot of small businesses yet that are adopting AI in a major way, kind of at their core. I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out how to do it. I mean, the common use case a lot of small businesses use is just like what average consumers use, which is just using ChatGPT to help with a lot of stuff that they would normally use Google with or ask somebody about. So just like, hey, I need to write this business plan. Can you help me? Or I want to draft this article. Can ChatGPT help me edit it? That kind of thing. Or I've got an email, a really critical email I need to write where I'm really mad about something. I push it into ChatGPT and ask them to help me make it nicer or something like that.
Erica used that one a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's kind of around the edges. One of the challenges for small businesses, and we can get into this a little bit more in the conversation because I do think it's important, is that I think to get AI into a core process that is, say, like replacing some of your customer support burden or sales burden, it actually requires a decent amount of investment for kind of training. And so I think that a lot of businesses have not yet crossed into that investment of like really trying to get it to displace support queries and things like that. I think some larger enterprises are a little bit further along there because they have the ability to make larger investments in kind of tuning something.
Do you think that smaller businesses should take more time because they don't have that type of capital to wait and see what happens with all of these different technologies that are out there? Because I mean, obviously AI is the hottest thing out there right now. Everybody's doing AI. There's a million different technologies, kind of like HR software. There's 15,000 payroll systems you can do. Do you think it's better for them to wait a little bit until it kind of dies down and the leaders in the marketplace rise up to the top, the people, who can really produce the best? That way they don't spend, small dollars and get small potatoes.
I think there's kind of layers. So like the first layer that's easy and everyone should do is, use ChatGPT a lot.
Please.
And especially, some of what I would recommend for a small business is to get a Teams account because that can also protect your data. So you can control ChatGPT not training on your data. And so I would say like, get a team account for your business, get your employees in the habit of using it to help with productivity. And that probably, gets you a little productivity bump just doing that. I think the second layer, which is also if you do have a team account for ChatGPT or a paid account, is what they call custom GPTs, where you don't have to be a programmer. That's where you can start to dip your toe in a little bit of training and customizing to make it more useful for your business. So you could have, a custom GPT where you upload some documents of questions that, clients would normally ask you, and you give that to your employees and they can use that. And that's kind of one level above what just an untrained ChatGPT would be. And then I think the third layer is, can you use it to help answer sales questions and support questions or integrate it into things like spreadsheet work that you're doing. And I think that that takes the next level of commitment and investment. I think the technology and tools are there, but it's more about making the commitment because you're not just going to be able to, probably not going to have a great AI customer support agent if all you do is just take the vanilla thing and maybe point it at your support documents. You need to do a lot more, reinforcement and customization in order to make it truly valuable.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in getting people to really understand how to create those custom chat bots because I think, number one, as someone who considers herself very non-techie, I had a lot of fear around that at first because I'm not techie. I don't know how to do that. But when I saw how easy it was to do that, I was like, holy shit, more people need to be doing this.
Yep.
And now I have a whole army of them. And I go out and I try to make sure that if anybody does anything.
Which one is your favorite, Erica?
Oh, I got different. The one right now that's my favorite is my newsletter writer because she's been cranking out some.
What's her name?
Nancy, the newsletter writer.
Nancy, she likes to name them.
They're all females.
Like Cheryl is her.
Cheryl's my twin.
After Sheryl Sandberg?
She does a lot, yep. And then we've got Nancy, the newsletter writer, and Caroline, the content queen. I've got a lot of different ones, right? But I think the reason that I love that you say, please just start leaning into these teams, start getting a little bit of productivity wins is because it's a great primer for change.
Yep.
I think had I not taken the chance on myself to create that own chatbot, I probably still would have been very like, I don't know about all this. And so leaning into that is huge. What would be the next step, do you think, for businesses if they can get that Teams account? What's that next critical step for them to help with transforming their workplace?
I would say one of the keys is getting good written documentation of everything that you do in your business. So I think like one of the differences in training an AI versus a human employee is that a lot of human employees can kind of learn by osmosis. So you don't necessarily have this awesome onboarding doc with all the background of everything they need to know. They just kind of come in, they meet with people, they ask questions, and over time they figure it out. And so a great way to be prepared for AI is like, let's say, take the customer support case or the newsletter case, or let's say a case with sales. It's like, okay, well, how would we train an SDR? What are the principles of the 5 steps of, a sales process? And then what are common objections that people have and how would we address those objections? And you have to do the pretty hard work of actually documenting and writing all that stuff down, which is actually something that you probably should be doing for your employees anyway. But most companies haven't done that, especially like small businesses, but even large businesses. And so that will benefit your employees anyway. But I think having that is a prerequisite to doing a really good job getting a GPT, trained for your business.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time here. First of all, thank you again for joining this. In full disclosure, I'm an investor in Levitate. I met Jess, I guess it's been 5 or 6 years now through. It's kind of roundabout. I actually was introduced to Howard Lerman, who then introduced me to you because Howard said, "Hey, you need to meet Jess. You guys are local." I was like, "Well, I know Jess's wife Brooks because we competed against each other. Or we partnered on things in the past." And I remember in the early days, I asked Jess. I said, "Hey, man, how do I get in on this .ai thing? I don't know what this is."
Yeah.
In like 2019, 2020, and then a few years later, I was able to get in. But you said a lot of things here that I just wanted to just kind of wind back a little bit,
Sure.
if you don't mind. Like one of the things I think it's very imperative for folks to understand is even here at Walk West, we talk about making, AI adoption 3 things: make it personal, make it fun, make it safe, right? We have our own competition that we're doing right now because we do believe that we need to create these unlocks, right? These, I've trademarked AI serious. She calls herself AI curious. We talk about moving people from anxious to curious to serious. Yeah. And the idea being, how do we get people more curious internally, right? And then get to that point where, as you described, documenting the process. I say, hey, look, I always take a people, process, platform in that order always approach to any consulting I do. So right now we're focused on the people, but we have to go take a look at the process, right? This is not a situation where we just bolt on AI to existing process. This is an opportunity to reimagine what the process, what the team, I hate to use the word reorg, but structure it in a different way than what you've done in the past. So do you find that the smaller the organization, the easier to do that or harder to do that?
I think there's some things that are easier and some things are harder. I think a small organization can change and move faster, but also has less resources. And a larger organization, everything in a large enterprise seems to take multiple years, but they potentially could have the resources to say, we're going to put 5 people on this, or we're going to do a lot of investment on the engineering side to make something happen. I think for technology companies like software, there's a big advantage for companies that are AI native that have basically started in the last couple of years, because from the ground floor, they're using AI tools for building their software and adapting. And I think for established companies, and people that have a lot of experience, I think there's always aversion to change. And like in every department, getting a sales team to use AI tools takes a lot of change management. There's going to be resistance where if you just start in the world of sales in 2024, 2025, you're just going to naturally embrace some of those tools a lot more easily. So I think there's challenges. I would say just in general, for a software company, a tech company, it's probably an advantage to be smaller right now, just in terms of moving quickly. For a non-tech company, I think it's like kind of 50-50. There's advantages and disadvantages.
You primarily work with non-tech companies right now. I was actually, last night, I was telling a buddy of mine who's actually my chiropractor, I said, hey, I got a guest on tomorrow. I said, you should probably try out his technology. You're the perfect fit.
Yeah.
You have like a 5 to 10 person group, right? He has an identical twin brother who also has a chiro practice.
Oh, nice.
I was like, you guys are perfect for this. So I'm trying to get him to come in here. You may see him come in.
We're working on HIPAA compliance right now. So the next couple months we should have it. But chiro, dental, those are great use cases for us.
I mean, Erica and I have historically worked in enterprise as far as our client base.
Yeah.
And I was telling folks, it's like, I'm excited about this age of AI now, because even, I run Walk West now, right? I'm able to actually provide for smaller organizations because of the tools, right? It was cost prohibitive for us to really work downstream with you had to be upper middle market to enterprise for us to really see any value that we could provide, right? But now with these tools, right, we're able to come further downstream. Was that something that you kind of witnessed up front, or was it more of a passion for you to work with these smaller organizations?
Kind of a passion. We did ShareFile kind of pre-acquisition from Citrix. We worked with small businesses just about exclusively. And so it's kind of what I know is the micro businesses. I did work at Citrix with we had an enterprise part of the business that we developed there, but I've always liked working with small businesses. I'm co-founder of Raleigh Founded. I like working with entrepreneurs. And I think the thing that gratifies me about working with small businesses is that they can benefit so much from technology. Very few software companies will try to sell to small businesses because they don't have a lot of money. They're not that tech savvy. They need a lot of support, which is not usually a great combination for a vendor to service those types of businesses. So, but I think the cool thing is you can actually help them implement something and it dramatically changes their business and they really appreciate it. Whereas a large enterprise, you move their earnings per share by a penny or two and nothing against that. But for me, it's just more gratifying if there's this chiropractor and they implement our stuff and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I get all these clients that used to fall off. Now they're coming back because I've figured out a way to re-engage them and my business is up and my customers are happier. And that just feels really good to me.
That's what I was trying to explain, to my chiro friend. I said, the challenge that you guys have is that, a different example is I have a dentist appointment tomorrow, right? I get my teeth cleaned every 6 months.
Yeah.
There's no connection with that business over that 6-month period.
Right.
And so you have no connective tissue. So if they needed something in that moment, you're not top of mind for them. Right. And I said, that's the fundamental challenge. Right. And I wasn't even talking about Levitate at the time. But then it started to dawn on me. I was like, okay, here's the solution.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll turn it back to Erica.
No, I mean, these are great questions, and it actually leads me to what I want to talk about next, which is all about enhancing empathy and trust. Because I know one of the biggest fears that people have is this removal of the connection and the human element of it. And with Levitate, it really emphasizes that relationship-driven growth. How does one design AI tools that maintains that level of empathy and trust?
Well, from the beginning for us with Levitate, the goal was to help people scale their authentic outreach versus replacing it with, completely automated approach. Because I think people have gotten really savvy about automated outreach. I mean, before AI, you had 20 years ago, if you sent a HTML newsletter, it worked great. And everyone was like, wow, I got the newsletter from whatever company. And they would click through and look at it. And then eventually they're kind of like, oh, newsletter, that's not too personal. But then this whole technology of kind of email sequences came out of drip campaigns. And that kind of fooled people for a while, and it worked pretty well. And then eventually people are like, oh, this is a drip campaign. And so I think people, and even now, people can kind of sense an AI email and AI content a little bit. And so what our goal was actually, we started more with the first piece, which is who should you be reaching out to, and helping use AI to be look at some different signals and say here's 10 people that you should be reaching out to that you haven't. And that's also, if I had a meeting with Greg yesterday, then it would be really weird if he got, an email from me tomorrow, And so I think being thoughtful about flagging who you should reach out to, whereas I think most people traditionally, it's just I happen to run into somebody or think about somebody and maybe I reach out a little bit, but 90% of the people that I would probably like to be keeping in touch with, I just don't. And then the second thing is we try to do kind of mass personalization, where we've got a workflow where if you do send out to a client list, you may start with a template, but you can kind of click into each person and spend 30 seconds and add a sentence. And then the other thing is this is things that we're just getting into now that AI has gotten to where it is, and I wanted to do at the beginning, but we weren't able to, is things like coming out of this meeting, I can potentially just record some quick notes, and AI is smart enough to put those on your profile in a way with tags and other things. If I find out you have certain interests or hobbies or food you like or something like that, teams you like.
Will it tag up, let's say you and I have a conversation and you're like, hey, I'm going to do this big 99-mile bike ride in 6 months.
Yeah.
Will it tag that? So then in 5 months, I can be like, hey, how's it going? You've got that thing in a month.
That's the vision. And I think now with AI, we're getting there. And then one thing that we're about to roll out is just being able to ask questions about your contacts. It'll be oh yeah, Erica, what are her kids' names again? And being able to have a conversation with your system instead of, it's just so tedious to record things and look them up that most people, especially small businesses, would never go to that level in a CRM system. But I think with AI, you'll be able to be walking out and be all right, here's a transcript from the meeting or notes from the meeting, and it'll pull out some tags of oh yeah, some key facts, Greg played basketball at Howard, and a couple other things. And then I probably would have not, I would either have to remember that, or, which I try, but hundreds of people, and sometimes things slip, or I'm never going to take the time to log into Salesforce and write these copious notes about every time I meet. And so I think it can, I think we all have these people that are just, we know that maybe a couple people who are super thoughtful, and they're oh yeah, how was that vacation you took a year ago to Bora Bora that you were telling me about? And how's this and how's that? And I think what we're trying to do with technology is let the average person kind of be that thoughtful. Yeah, exactly.
No, I love that. And actually, I've coached many women on how to network better, and a lot of it is kind of like this, but it's very mundane in a Google sheet where it's like, when's their name? When's the last time you reached out to them? What are some key things you need to remember, like their kids' names? And it is very tedious, and most people don't keep up with it long term. They'll use it as a short-term fix, like when they're job hunting or something. But that's incredible. I love
sales,
that.
To your point about SDR, so nobody wants to put all that information in the CRM. Right. It's one of the biggest pain points. And when ChatGPT launched in November of 22, you just saw people racing to go to market solutions for that very reason, because the pain is so real. That in the sentiment analysis and being able to use natural language processing to actually have a conversation with the information, to your point. Like if I'm on my way somewhere, I'm like, oh shit, what did Jess say that he used to focus on, or this, and this? And give it, we use I know a lot of folks here use Granola to transcribe things and be able, but that whole kind of workflow, it's different for folks. And I've seen a lot of sales folks really gravitate towards it. I think what I like a lot about Levitate, though, it's not, this is my understanding of it, it's not so much a point solution like some of these other things. It's more of a kind of a unified solution, almost like a mini kind of HubSpot or something.
Yeah, CRM.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had a chance last month to go to HubSpot's AI summit. It's like invitation only. So it was good to see like faces of like all of the founders, and startup, aspiring startup folks. Only like 300 folks. And then across town, it was the Databricks conference, which was like 20,000 people, right? And just kind of seeing that dynamic is like, all right, what I don't want to get to, and part of the reason why we call this AI voice of victim, is that we don't end up at a point where there's the haves and the have-nots, right? So I love having a guest on here that's talking about small business. And I would say like 80-90% of our guests are primarily focused on enterprise type of client. So it is exciting to see that. Like, what other barriers are you seeing? I always tell folks, I'm like, it's hard to sell something that people don't know how to consume, right? So even OpenAI is going through this right now where for, accounts that are 10 plus million, for them, they're providing consulting services, right? Because you can only sell so much, to your point, if smaller businesses don't have the technical resources or understanding. Are you having to onboard them in any significant way, or what does that look like to get them, ready to use Levitate?
So we probably provide the level of service when it comes to customer success that of somebody who would normally spend like $100,000 a year or more. Our customer success team meets quarterly with each client and helps them map out a content calendar and a strategy and things like that. And the main reason for that is just that small businesses need that. If you don't provide it, they're not going to be active with the tool because they have so much going on. So I think the key to being successful in the market with small businesses, figuring out how to do that and be efficient enough, and AI can be helpful behind the scenes and helping us do that, be efficient enough that the margins are good enough and it's profitable, but you really have to run it like a well-oiled machine in order to make that work.
What AI tech stack are you using right now?
We use OpenAI. That's really what we use. We both from a ChatGPT teams, but also their API. Then we also use Claude from an engineering perspective. We use a lot of Claude code, and we can get into that, but that's been enormously transformational. But so Anthropic seems like they're way ahead when it comes to the coding models.
No, I love to ask that question because there's obviously so many different tech stacks and combinations out there that you can use, and so many people have so many different options to choose from that I like to just say, like, it's your own little mini bar there. Like, pick your poison, do what you want to do, test them out, explore, and settle on one that feels right to you. And then spend the time to really get to learn it and know it and integrate into it, because you might surprise yourself.
I think that the challenge, though, for a lot of organizations is there's just so many tools. Right. So many. Like, I was going to ask the question, so I'm glad that Erica asked you the question, because I was trying to understand. It's like, all right, what's it underneath? Do you have your own, large language model? You have your small, but it sounds like you're, fine tuning it and using some reinforcement learning and some things to really get there. our SVP here, John Zarin of marketing technology, he was at Hello Alice most recently helping small businesses. They were using Claude, right, for a lot of the development things, right, to be able to get features out. So it's good to kind of see these parallels and folks really trying to dive in and help at scale these smaller organizations. I think one of the challenges is that I've seen is because there's so many tools, though, there is this analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Right. Because folks are like, for us, we're a bit of in a bubble. I always try to explain to folks, I'm like, whether you're in the Triangle or if you go to San Francisco or some major cities, it seems like a lot of people or everyone's using it.
Yeah.
But they're not. If you go to Middle America, if you go to many of the Main Street type of businesses, they're not using or understanding. So coming to them with a stack, right, and saying, hey, why don't you try these out? Because there's going to be 1,000 options in 2 years for I don't know. You're the expert on this. I don't know when the bubble bursts, but there's going to be some non-winners for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the word we're using?
I was told that when I'm on a panel,
non-winners,
not to say losers anymore. Like it wasn't specific to me, but
making a note.
Non-winners, right? But the reality though is that because the barrier to create, my degree's in computer science, but I vibe code quite a bit now, but I can actually understand and trace the code and understand. Like I was literally doing something before this and I was telling John and team and Tom, I said, I think I just created an infinite loop. I'll see what's happening when I come back.
Right.
I kept trying to stop it.
Yeah.
But it just kept going back. So, but
yeah, no, it's, I mean, to your question, I think what I would say to people, and I've said this before, just to keep it simple is just use OpenAI. Like, there's Gemini, there's a lot of things, but just constantly poking around every model, is confusing. Like OpenAI is good. And then I would probably say if you're coding, just use Claude Code. It's the best. Keep it that simple. Yes, I know there's like DeepSeek and Grok and, all these other tools, and Llama, but I think people can get really confused. Like OpenAI is the market leader and their models are really good, and just like keep it simple.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. We do use a lot of Gemini here because we're a Google Workspace. Like there's a reason why, but if we had specific engineering related things, I have OpenAI keys, right? We use those things. We'll use Claude for other things, right? And as being a marketing agency, what we're trying to do is say, look, what are the 3 to 5 tools or things you need to solve? We'll give you some recommendations, some ideas. Play around with these based on your specific role, right? If you're a content writer or strategist, use Claude. I just fundamentally believe it writes better.
Yeah.
Right. I think, but giving folks some of that freedom to play around with. To your point, I was listening to a legal podcast coming in here, and they were talking about getting a Teams or enterprise account, so that you are not worrying about all these other things. Like, okay, how do I redact this or remove that? And it's like, if you do that, you're going to create such a barrier, so much friction, no one's going to adopt.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think you've done an amazing job, again, with your tool. It reminds me when you were talking about screens earlier, I wanted to chime in because I was recently listening to the 20 VC podcast.
Yeah.
And they had a chief product officer from Duolingo.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept trying to say, what category were they in? It was like, well, are you in education? It's like, we're not in education. We're competing for screen time.
Mm-hmm.
They said the same thing that you were saying.
Yeah.
It's like, we're actually competing for screen time. Right. And so whatever category you describe that as right now, there's so many different things that are competing for that. And so we want that space.
Yeah.
Well, as a user of Duolingo, what are
you using it for? I don't think it's taking.
It's not taking. I'll tell you that. It's not taking, but they do get on you when you don't, if you miss a day, and then let me tell you, if you miss like 27 days, they really get on you.
I guess I have this streak thing in a leaderboard. I don't know how you're doing it from an adoption, but it's really thoughtful.
It's done very well. But Jesse, we love to bring some light and levity, see what I did there, to the conversation by having a fun little last chat game. And this is where we pull out our phones. We get to share the context between what was that last chat we put in, what did we use it for, and what did it give us?
Yeah.
We've had professional answers, we've had personal answers, and everything in between.
Yeah. All right.
But it's a great fun way.
My phone is off, but I remember.
You did your homework ahead of time, not on the bus like, someone over here.
What are you talking about?
No, I don't name names. But then we'll kick it off with you, sir. You are prepared. What was that last chat?
So I was driving over here at the stoplight at Crabtree Mall. A light popped on my truck, and I took a picture of it, and I asked ChatGPT, like, what is this? What's the problem? And I guess it was like some seatbelt sensor in my passenger seat, but ChatGPT totally got the
Hold
answer
on, I
for
gotta
me.
ask the question. Did you drive the Maserati in here?
No, I drive
Is that a
a
truck?
pickup truck.
Oh, you said that. Somebody followed me in with a Maserati today, and I'm trying to figure out who it is.
Yeah, no, it's not me. I
Okay.
drive a pickup truck.
Just checking.
And then the one before that was we're doing like a President's Club in Paris, and someone on our team was suggesting like 3 or 4 hotels, and she was like, one was like, this is in the 1st district, this is in the 15th district, and so I just like went to ChatGPT. Hey, we're doing a President's Club. Would the 1st district or 15th district be better? We're looking at hotels, and it gave me a great answer and told me 1st district, and so I was able to make a better decision on that. So just wide range of different things that I've used it for recently.
I love it. Greg, what was yours?
I'm gonna go last.
Mine's good. So I had the incredible founder and CEO of Women Tech Network on my podcast, Glass Ceilings and Sticky Floors, the other day, Anna Radovulski. And I said, I need like a fangirl post. I said, because I want to blow this woman up. She's incredible. Write me the most over-the-top fangirl post. And so they sure as heck did. And they did it because I've used it so often for some of my content production. They do it perfectly.
Yeah.
Same with the perfect amount of emojis that I like, not too over the top like it used to do. No M dashes, that is the dead giveaway. And no weird call to actions at the end that are just too quirky because I've used it enough to do that. So that was my fangirl ChatGPT request.
That's the amazing thing with ChatGPT, and I think why OpenAI has a really good chance of running away with the consumer market is they've added memory, and like it is just a great lock-in. It's getting better and better. You don't have to give it as much context. If I can just say, hey, like, is there a good Mexican restaurant? It knows I'm in Raleigh, and just makes things so much easier. And so I think that's why, even though Gemini is probably just as good of a model, I think they've captured the public's imagination, and they have so much momentum that I think it's going to be really hard to catch them.
Absolutely. That's why I love these posts that are like, knowing everything you know about me, chat, like hype me up and get me ready for the day. And it will just bombard you with the best answer. But
I mean, I think I was going to bring the same thing up that just brought up around memory. The switching costs are going to be massive. Like, why would I leave it now that it knows everything about me?
Exactly, yeah.
Right? It knows all my preferences. As much as we use Gemini in the business, I've still predominantly used ChatGPT for things right now. And I know the power of Gemini because I was using its experimental deep research the end of last year for a lot of things, right? And but that is an amazing lock-in, right? And so before I get to my chat, like what is the thing, like what do you believe is the defensible moat right now for SaaS-based software?
Yeah.
Because the speed of competition or the time to competition is nearing zero.
I think taste, design taste, and kind of product vision are more important than ever. So, and then I think that to the point we were just making about ChatGPT, the more that you're able to train on specific data that's relevant to the niche that you're in, I think it potentially allows the winners to get more of a moat and more lock-in, because the winners get their models and get better and better, and then that causes them to have more users, which causes them to get better and better. So yeah, I think it's there's definitely like getting out early, being the market leader is probably just as important as like back in those .com days when we're talking about like eyeballs. It's like if you can make your model, and I'm not talking about us or most companies creating their own large language model, but it's more all the training documents and prompts that you can put around a model to make it really relevant to a specific use case. I think that becomes the moat.
Yeah, everyone that I'm hearing in the VC community is saying that kind of same thing, right? There's a few different things. They talk about speed, right? Because it used to be first, best, or only, right? Are you first to the market? Are you the best? Or you only? Now I say now people are like from a foundational model, best is like relative in terms of like every 2 weeks, right? People say, oh, OpenAI can't do math, and they just won the math competition. It took gold last weekend or whatever, right? But I think they talk a lot about speed and data, and to your point, people that can get very deep in a specific vertical, right, or industry, and then you lock in the data, because I'm real bullish on service as a software right now. And I say the 4 pieces of a defensible moat in the service of a software world is your reputation, so personality-led growth, your relationships, so community-led growth, right? Your clients and partners, the data that sits underneath, and then the services you wrap around it, right? And so from a SaaS perspective, you can get them locked in the data, or you can go deep with that fine-tuning as you're describing it, right? And have all that context. Like, so imagine being like Harvey is doing for legal.
Yep.
Right. They've gone so deep there. I do think that the folks that are coming in late to the party it's going to be challenging.
I agree.
I say we're in an era of taste and trust is what I always tell folks.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's going to be so many options. You're going to go with, like Claude, like who gets me? It's about vibes, right? Vibes and vision is what Jess is saying to us. But all right. So I've delayed enough here. Let me see which one I want to, I have one, but I'm like deep in prompt engineering. I'm at a point I have 25 certifications, so I like really nerd out on this stuff. So I'm not going to read a whole page of a prompt. So I'll read a shorter. I'll read a shorter one, which is a lot of times people will give me a PDF and it's like, okay, like a deck or something. I'm like, all right, let me do this better using GenSpark or using Gamma or something else. And so someone sent me a PDF and I didn't really like it. So I said, all right, read through the attached PDF, extract all the content from each slide and put it into a GenSpark prompt for me to rebuild this deck slide by slide.
Nice.
Right. And so I took their deck.
And made it better.
And I made it better.
The one that you actually want to read. Right.
Correct. And one that I want to pass along to other folks.
Okay, nice.
Right. Because I was like, I can't give this to the audience I want to give it to. Right. Their expectations are higher, more thoughtful. Right. Also, because I'm using these tools, to your point, it has the memory on me. It knows my voice. Right. So it puts it in the tone in which I would present. And it gives me speaking notes and all these other things. Right. So I use it. I use it a lot of different ways, from writing code to vibe coding to making music, you name it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I want to wrap it up with just one question.
Yep.
If you had to sum up your AI philosophy in one sentence, what would it be?
I would say it's important to use the tools a lot. So and this is more than a sentence, but I've actually been getting back the last 9 months into coding, and I was just coding at breakfast this morning with Claude Code. And so I think the advice is like, you really need to constantly be using the tools and evaluating them, because I think the biggest mistake you can make in AI is, I tried to implement that and it just didn't work. And then, waiting a year before even thinking about it again. It's like, I feel like pre-AI, that approach would work of like, we tried to implement this type of software, it failed, so maybe we'll come back to that in 5 years. Whereas I think with AI, it changes so fast that you need to always be reevaluating your assumptions, and like something that didn't work a month ago might work really well today. It's like AI was horrible at dealing with images 3 months ago. Now it's gotten a lot better, and I bet it's going to get a lot better next month. And so I think I would say just like always be paying attention to the news. It's like a year happens in 2 weeks in terms of the pace of change. And so I think always err on the side of trying to use AI too much versus erring on the side of dismissing it, which I think is like the most dangerous thing you can do.
So try and try again.
Yeah.
I love it. Jesse, thank you for joining us
Absolutely,
on the podcast.
my pleasure.
Oh my gosh,
thank you.
so fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Thanks for joining us on AI, Voice or Victim. If you want to stay competitive in the AI age, start now. Take one insight from today's episode and put it into practice in the next 24 hours. Make sure to follow us, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more actionable AI insights. See you next time.